And we have time traveled to the end of the Toronto Maple Leafs and Montreal Canadiens game. Um, and the vibes here are conceitedly different than they were a couple hours ago. And I personally didn't even want to do this anymore, but my only analysis from this game is I hope Johnny's okay, and that has to have had a major effect on this game. And we sleep it off and we come back on Saturday and hopefully it's different. Yeah, I just the trauma is already there for me. I'm pretty crushed.
Yeah, it's just straight PTSD to losing in the playoffs. It felt like they were just so much more successful with their physicality. I That's their style of play. We're obviously a more skilled team, so I'm not saying we should match it. It's just frustrating to feel like they were really knocking us over and we were more nudging them, unless it was like Bogosian or Hyman getting in on the hits. And yeah, Johnny, it scared me the way he tried to stand up and his neck kind of folded out. So we'll see. And man, we got a YouTube comment. I don't know if you read it, but it was challenging the idea that Spets and Thornton in particular are undervalued. And after that, watching Thornton on the power play, I've really got to agree with it. The man does look like he needs a walker out there, and just everything he does with the puck, the Canadians were able to swarm us and just too slow for the playoff speed, and that resulted in the giveaway that got them that shorthanded game winner. So that's all I got.
When you're the underdog, you have nothing to lose, right? And this Canadians team played with nothing to lose. It was throw everything everywhere. And the whole goal when you're the underdog and everyone's picked against you is to just do things that muck up the game. And if you're the Leafs team and you're more skilled, you have to come out with that same mentality that you have nothing to lose because Montreal just played harder. That's it. And yeah, the eternal optimist within me doesn't like the Thornton performance, but I also think these old guys need a bit of ramp to get themselves back and going because Thornton 2 weeks ago was maybe the third best player on the team the way he was going. He's point per game over a week and dishing out hits and getting under guys' skin. And everyone then was like, oh my gosh, he's got to stay in the lineup now. So it could be a one-off and he just needs it to get going. Or if you see the similar things, that's the thing about this team is we have the depth and it's going to get tested now because I don't imagine JT's back for the rest of the season. Center is a position we're actually weakest at because of how quickly it can turn. You can have it as a strong suit and then you lose one of your top guys and then immediately you're shallow down the middle. But definitely have a ton of wingers that we can throw in there and see if you could get a little bit of life. Yeah, it's so tough to do this right afterwards. It hurts.
I think that's all we got. So we can move along to our other hockey notes.
Yeah, and I was gonna, again, this was stuff that was going to be more upbeat, but the mood is just so different. Carolina is up 2-0 in their series against Nashville. The only takeaways I had from this really is the Hurricanes arena is rocking. Philip Forsberg's mustache is just beautiful, also gross but beautiful. And Alex Nedeljkovic has been showing out, playing like prime Carey Price. And you know who else is playing like prime Carey Price? Carey Price. Um, Washington, Boston. Boston up 2-1. Marchand is very active in this series. He's all over the place and getting away with stuff, just like we knew he would. It's nice to see him get away with it against other teams, and Washington's been giving it back a little bit. but a just brutal giveaway by Ilya Samsonov in overtime, and Boston scores and take a 2-1 series lead, which is big for them. They haven't really played that great in the series so far, so to have a lead is, you got to be feeling pretty confident if you're them.
The tightest series for sure so far.
Florida tonight, getting back in this series, a huge road win in Tampa after losing 2 at home. This series has been all over the place. You could really see, similar to what I talked about in the basketball segment earlier, the playoff expertise really showing for Tampa, but Florida with a gritty comeback win, tie it up and win it in overtime. And so they're back in this series, and that's huge for them. Both Vegas and Pittsburgh evened up their series, and then Pittsburgh takes the lead tonight on a tight 5-4 win over the Islanders. It looks like they're starting to figure things out. Jeff Carter's been awesome so far in this series. And if you're the Islanders, you really got to tighten things up because the scores are getting a little high for the type of hockey that they want to be playing. And then obviously the Vegas game is just underway, so we won't know the result of that by the end of this pod. And then we had Edmonton and Winnipeg kick off last night, and Winnipeg, big shocker. Similar to the game we just watched, all the experts had one team penciled in, and Winnipeg came out and gave it to them. And I honestly don't know what's worse, if you just get run out of your own building, or if it's a tight game that comes down to a terrible injury and a shorthanded goal. I really don't know what's worse, but Edmonton also in a hole. Yeah. The sky is not falling yet for anyone.
No.
These series are long.
Yeah, no one's taken a 3-0 lead, and the only team that has a chance to do that at this point, I think, is Colorado. So some good tight playoff hockey all around. It seems like more games than not are ending within one goal. And
Colorado though take a 2-0 lead, but then Kadri, he might be out for the rest of this series with that hit that he threw. And why the Leafs moved away from him, right, is because he's a great player and he's a guy you want to have in the playoffs, but sometimes he just loses his mind. And it cost the Leafs both of those series, 2017 or 2018, 2019 to the Bruins. And now it's going to cost the Avalanche here if he misses out on this series, and maybe even a little bit more, depending on, I don't know if he's considered a repeat offender. That might actually help him in the same way that it helped Tom Wilson, the 18-month turnover. But like at this rate, what he got all the series against Boston, he could get 10 games for that sort of hit. So that's a big one, and that could really swing that series if he's out.
Yeah, I mean, the guy does seem to get put on teams maybe because of that, like where he's not ever going to be the top player. Definitely hurts the Colorado depth, which I guess we'll stay tuned. I'm so crushed.
All right, let's get away from hockey, shall we?